Greetings, Cancer and Cancer Rising. This is your Western forecast for July 2025. If you watch my videos every month, I always start with where is the sun shining? Where are you being lit up? Where is your attention being drawn to? So the sun goes from sign to sign every 4 weeks. So the last week of June through the first 3 weeks of July, the sun's in Cancer. You are a Cancer or a Cancer rising. So there's a spotlight on visibility, being more personal charm, confidence, new beginnings. You're just lighting up. Now, this time, it is more positive than usual. Because I mentioned in last month's video that expansive, traveling, optimistic Jupiter went into Cancer in June through the end of June 2026. So it's in the sign for 1 year. But Jupiter is in its best sign. Of all the 12 signs, when Jupiter is in Cancer, it's his best sign. This means Cancer, the sign of Cancer, is the exalted sign for Jupiter. So the promises, the possibilities that Jupiter is trying to bring, being exalted in Cancer, it can bring its best potential, its best luck. And being in your sign, it's going to overall attract good fortune, a lot of personal growth. So all things Jupiter come to you. Jupiter is higher education. There'll be opportunities there. If you're in school, this gives a lot of opportunities to get the degree, to really learn and feel really good about what you're learning. That's Jupiter. Could be travel. A lot of traveling with Jupiter, or a really special long-distance international travel. That's the Jupiter. The first house also represents your persona, your personality. And with Jupiter, you could be coming across more optimistic, more joyful, more generous. The first house also represents the physical body. Now, Jupiter can do a couple of things. It's very protective overall for your health and well-being. If there was any health issue, the Jupiter would have a tendency to bring you the right treatments, the right healers. But Jupiter expands. And you could be gaining weight with Jupiter in your sign if you're not active enough. Now, with Jupiter, you want to be traveling all over the world. So if you are doing a lot of walking at least. But if you're just at work and you're sitting down for most of the time, yeah, you could be making all this money and feeling really optimistic about your future. But if you don't have a lot of movement, you could be gaining weight. Now, there's 2 other big planetary events that I want to discuss. Liberating progressive Uranus is going into Gemini July the 6th. It'll be there for about 8 years. This happens, it's going into Gemini once every 84 years. Uranus is very much associated with technology, personal freedoms, thinking out of the box. It's very, think about genius, being very strong desire to fight and rebel for personal freedoms, all these qualities. Uranus can be very radical and revolutionary. In Gemini, a Gemini is the sign of information and communication. So Uranus in Gemini could be all these new forms of learning and communications and technologies. Now, That's over these next 8 years that you might be more drawn to. But Gemini is the sign prior to Cancer. So Gemini is in the 12th house sector or the shadow sector before it goes into Cancer in 8 years. So Uranus is this progressive, liberating, insightful breakthrough energies in the 12th house could be hidden psychological breakthroughs, could be a spiritual awakening. The 12th house, things that are hidden come to light. Secrets could come to light. This is the 12th house is a very introspective, spiritual part of the chart. That Uranus could suddenly bring in this new interest. But Uranus is more unconventional. So maybe all this spiritual awakening could be with a whole new religion. Now, before I go further, I need to talk about Venus. Planet of love and creativity will be in Gemini in July, being ignited by Uranus. That Uranus could be really igniting all things Venus. And in the 12th house, maybe an unexpected, hidden, secretive love affair. Mercury is going retrograde on July the 17th. And we're going to talk a little bit about Mars in Virgo, because it goes through all the signs every 2 years. So, before I break down the rest of these planetary energies, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. All right. Venus is that planet of desire. It's very sociable. But when Venus is in the 12th house once a year, it's seeking more of a low-key social period, or keeping a lower profile. Could be more secrets, things that are hidden with your social life. So it could go from one end of the spectrum of wanting to be alone or busy with other things and not going through a very social period at all, to the other end of the spectrum is you're being all turned on with the Uranus because it could be an unexpected infatuation, but in the 12th house you got to keep it hidden. And and it could be two reasons. I always think is the obvious is if you're cheating, or the other thing, if you want to make sure you may be the type of person that as soon as you're getting all excited about a relationship, you don't want to tell everybody right away, just in case it's not lasting. So you don't want to, be embarrassed. Now, the Venus is going into Gemini on July the 4th to July the 30th. And having the Venus being ignited by Uranus in the 12th house in July could be secret crushes, could be behind the scenes pleasures, creative inspiration through dreams. But you got to be careful about escapisms or entanglements that feel thrilling but unclear. Now, the Venus is creative and it's romantic. And with Uranus, there could be sudden attractions, sudden creative breakthroughs, but also getting caught up or being attracted to some unconventional relationship dynamics. Uranus demands freedom. So you may want more freedom in a relation, in love. You may be desiring an open relationships. Artistically, that there could be a lot of innovation in art or using technology, Uranus with art. Certainly a lot of non-traditional, creative, romantic energies. Mercury, the planet of information, communications, it's in Leo, which is the second sign past Cancer. Mercury is what is on your mind, what you're curious about, what are you restless about. It's in Leo, because Leo's the second sign past Cancer. So the second is your personal income, your possessions. And Mercury, what are you thinking about? What are you discussing? What are you negotiating in your second house of income from June the 26th through September the 21st? It's a very favorable time for all kinds of financial negotiations and learning, maybe learning about finances, budgeting, accounting. But it goes retrograde, as it does every 4 months or so, July the 17th to August the 10th. And the retrograde is a time of backtracking, revising. You might make mistakes. You want to be really careful because you don't want to make any financial mistakes. But having the Mercury retrograding in your second house of income, you're going to be obsessed with money matters, and you might be reassessing your spending habits, your income sources. You might be very worried about it. You may be rethinking new ways, new approaches for generating financial income. But when it comes to asking for a raise or any kind of financial important negotiations, I would avoid Mercury in retrograde, the 17th to August the 10th. Because with Mercury in retrograde, expect the unexpected. There could be things that you're not aware of. You don't have all the information. Finally, Mars. Mars is the warrior planet. It's aggressive, it's ambitious, it's athletic, it's high energy. And Mars goes through all the signs every 2 years. June the 17th, it went into Virgo. Virgo's an earth sign, compatible with Cancer water sign, but Virgo is 3 signs past Cancer. So Mars, ambitious, assertive Mars, is in your third house from June the 17th to August the 6th. The third house is the sector of communications and learning and writing and selling. With the Mars, you could be much more ambitious, aggressive, assertive, selling or selling yourself for new jobs. You could be learning the third house, new job skills or technology with that Mars. You certainly could be a lot of restlessness, because that third house could be running a lot of meetings and errands or weekend holidays, and the Mars just keeps you all heated up and busy. The third house can represent siblings. It can represent your next door neighbors. And with Mars, now the Mars is positive with Cancer. So more of the positive with siblings, with neighbors, where there might be much more activity. You might be doing events together, traveling together, having sports together. But Mars can also be very argumentative and impatient with siblings, with neighbors, but it's going to be more positive than anything because it's good with Cancer. So, I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next month, be safe and well.